Hey, welcome back, guys. BMF's final episode was a Game of Thrones-style murder fest that incorporated triumph and tragedy to great effect. It was everything you could ask for in a finale, really. It illustrated great strides for our characters and a few major narrative shifts that'll ensure their sophomore season is just as eventful as its debut. I'm here to break it all down in typical top 10 WTF fashion. Before we begin, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and bell notification to immediately receive these videos. Also, big thank you to all of my channel donors. If you'd like to be the next one, drop $1 on that Cash App for us. And lastly, a spoiler alert is now in effect for all things BMF. Here we go. WTF moment number 10, Consequences. The episode begins with Kato attempting to make a play against Lamar through B. Mickey. However, Mickey's efforts are thwarted by the police, who extend their reach to Terry at school and eventually meet at his baby mom's house. We then discover that Brian is behind these plays in an effort to squeeze the 50 boys for their murder of his late partner, Lopez. WTF moment number 9, the settlement. Charles and Lucille meet with Karen, and she reveals to them that her firm caught up with the nurse critical to their success in T's malpractice case. The nurse outlined how she smelled alcohol on the surgeon's breath, and in order to prevent such information from becoming public, the hospital decided on a substantial settlement for Terry and his family, a figure in the ballpark of $230,000. That large sum would leave the Flannerys with about $250,000 after fees and costs. This news was met with overwhelming joy by the Flannerys, especially Charles, who never looked happier throughout the entire season. WTF moment number 8, free the guys. The 50 boys march out of prison, united under the spirit of arrogance. They mock the police for being unable to hold them on roundups alone, lacking the proper evidence or probable cause to keep them. It's then revealed that the motivation for their arrest was retaliatory, a move to justify Lopez's execution, but nothing more. This release would further inspire their pending name change to Black Mafia Family. WTF moment number 7, stipulations. Terry is finally awarded his settlement check in person. However, there are several stipulations surrounding the funds. For one, the money would be untouchable until T's 18th birthday, being withheld in a trust until that time. The money can only be invested by his parents beforehand with permission from the surrogates court. This information flabbergasts the Flannerys, 2/3 of which abruptly exit upon Karen's update. WTF moment number 6, car service. Pops Flannery introduces Terry to the car service business through a man he drives for sporadically. He elaborates on the benefits of establishing such a venture and how T, his son, and the family at large will have a legacy to build on once this foundation is set. T listens to his pops and takes more time to mull it over before ultimately deciding on the automotive path. WTF moment number 5, love and a bullet. Lamar catches up with Kato with murderous intention after her setup attempt. However, the surprise was on him once Meech and B. Mickey showed up with no regard for either of their lives. Meech finally discarded of his series antagonist, inquiring about his potential shooting of T at Lamar's end. Then, and perhaps most tragically, B. Mickey is forced to kill the woman he loves to prove his devotion to Meech. With her final words being, "I love you," Mickey mows down the love of his life and responds with, "I love you too, boo," ever so coldly. This event will be a major dividing line between the distant brothers in the season to come, especially after Brian's forthcoming proposition. WTF moment number 4, 10 keys. Meech convinces Terry to bring him to Big L in order to convince the drug lord for a larger supply. Upon his typical mouthpiece presentation, Elle and her team up bangers on Meech and threaten T as well for allowing his presence. T ultimately convinces his alluring boss for the expanded weight, and her eyes dictate the lack of limitations on their relationship, granted that T keeps playing by her rules. WTF moment number 3, decisions. Wanda decides to finally leave Terry following his reluctance to leave the game for the sake of his family. Terry tries to maintain Wanda, only to lose her to free will and his father's backing. This event would lead to T's departure from the game, though temporarily. WTF moment number 2, flipped. Brian catches up with B. Mickey and reveals his true intentions to use the hitter against his boss. Brian does so by threatening Mickey's freedom, matching the ballistics from his gun to that of Kato and J-Mo respectively, which likely would have given him a life sentence. With the discontent created by Meech's loyalty demands and the death of his lover, B. Mickey has some hard decisions to make in Season 2, decisions that could sever their brotherhood permanently. And WTF moment number 1, My Brother's Keeper. T meets with his brother and unveils his plans to leave the game for square life. Meech pleads with his brother not to exit now that they finally reached their pinnacle, but T's mind was all made up. The recent loss of his family was no doubt an influence upon his decision, but also the loss of his sight, constant run-ins with the law, and the unforgiving nature of the streets swayed T to make some changes that he'd eventually renege on, but we'll see how that all unfolds in Season 2. Some lingering thoughts before we end today's video. The title of this episode was The King of Detroit, and its singular designation was intentional. We were given the creation of one king and the abdication of another, though it's common knowledge that Terry will eventually rejoin his brother in criminality. The car service that his father encouraged throughout the episode would be integral to the Flannery brothers' operation as their business continued to flourish, but we'll see that manifestation in due time. As for Meech, we witnessed his ascension into street supremacy, having cleared away his ops, made valuable alliances, subverted law enforcement, and expanded beyond his wildest dreams with 10 keys at his disposal. But like with any throne, the crown has its cost, and heavy is the head that bears its burdens. It was interesting to see the series kill off Kato and Lamar respectively, whose real-life inspirations are still allegedly alive. It just drives home the point that this is a dramatization of true events, and that any character in the series narrative can be picked off so long as it makes sense for the show. This understanding is why I questioned whether or not B. Mickey shot Terry, because although his shooter is unknown in real life, the series is a different take on such events. Anything is possible in a dramatic work, and I'm not mad at the results given where the story was taken. Watching Ashley Larry play a mortician was pretty sick, especially the way he was tweaking over those titty corpses. It's just a testament to his comedic prowess how even something that morbid could simultaneously be humorous, so respect to him. DC Young Fly's appearance as an 80s D-boy was a good one. He teetered the line between henchman and hilarious to great effect, and his presence slightly added to Meech's expansion attempt with Pat's associate from episode 1. And lastly, what are your thoughts on B. Mickey? Will he turn snitch against the crew? And if he does, is he justified given what Meech put him through with Kato? Let me know what y'all thinking. And that'll do it for this one. What were your thoughts on the BMF finale? Be sure to drop me your opinions below in the comments. As always, I thank you for watching today's video. If you liked today's video, go ahead and drop $1 on that Cash App for us, hit the like button, share it with your friends who are fans of BMF, and subscribe for more content such as this. This is Rudy P. Magic of Rudy P. Magic Beats, and have a blessed one until the next one. Peace, y'all.